Hello and welcome to another video. In today's one, we're going to be looking at the tmnt comic books that will be coming out in April 2023. So yeah. Okay, so on the 12th of April, we'll begin the first issue of the tmnt and the crossover with Usagi Yojimbo called tmnt Usagi Yojimbo Where When issue number 1. The description for this issue is that tmnt pursue the evil cyborg genius Dr. Where through time and portal and emerge in feudal Japan. There they encounter Usagi Yojimbo 20 years in the samurai's future, but decades after the arrival of Dr. Where, who has already carved himself a theodom using a mechanical clockwork samurai robots, with the intention of conquering both the past and current timelines. So yeah, this issue sounds really fun and really interesting. I can't wait to see Usagi and tmnt getting back together. It's been quite a while since they've gone to do any sort of crossover, so it's going to be really great to see them back together again. Now there were quite a few covers for this issue, so I won't be going over all of them just now. I'll probably be going over during them in the preview video, but I'll be showing a few of them on the screen right now. We've got the main one which is done by Stan Sakai, who's doing the artwork for this issue. We've got another one by Karen Eastman, we've got an amazing one by Sarah Myers, and there's a few other ones, one by Peter Davidson, and there's a lot of really unique and really amazing ones from other artists, and yeah. So yeah, that issue is coming out on the 12th of April. On the 19th of April, we'll begin the 6th and final issue of the tmnt The Alliance, and it's going to be really interesting. So the description for this issue is, spurred by the looming threat of a Rat King's Armageddon game, Oko Kurai set out to fortify the Foot Clan, building an alliance she could trust. But now as the Chaos God and his terror trio tighten their grasp on New York City, Kurai must choose align with old enemies or watch the world fall to the ultimate evil. Battle lines are drawn here in the epic final issue of The Alliance as the Armageddon game nears its end. So yeah, this issue sounds really amazing, with Kurai teaming up with loads of other characters from past issues and giving them sort of like the spotlight again and doing something really interesting. I'm not exactly too sure what the actual story could be for this issue, but it does sound really amazing. So for the covers, we're getting cover A being drawn by Roy McCartco, we're getting cover B by William Soares, we're getting cover C, which is the 1/10 variant, which is done by Matu Santaloco, and I must admit all these do look really amazing. And I'm quite surprised they're having a bit heavy focus on Bim Rocksteady. I'm not too sure if maybe they're going to be like some of the main characters in this issue, but you know, it's quite interesting. Now also on the 19th of April we begin the free comic book day as well, and it's going to be somewhat interesting just because they've already released these issues before. So the description is, in 1987 the world at large was introduced to tmnt by way of a catchy theme song and action-packed cartoon, shell-shocking the world into an era of Telmania. Since then the characters have appeared into countless comics, a multitude of animated series and several motion pictures. To nostalgia meter up to 11, this free comic book day revisits two fan favourite eras of tmnt animation in comic book form with a special presentation of stories from IDW's smash hit Saturday Morning Adventures and recent small screen adventure Rise of TMNT. So yeah, this issue is going to be having, I think it's issue number 1 of the Saturday Morning Adventures, as well as one of the comics from the Rise of TMNT, and it's one of the ones which I'm pretty sure they released at a Comic Con a few years ago. So yeah, it's nothing too new or anything like that, but you know, it's a free comic book, so what more can you ask for? So yeah, both of those issues will be coming out on the 19th of April. Okay, so on the 26th of April, there's going to be quite a lot of comics, and it's all got to the point where I'm sort of thinking that maybe they may delay a few of these comics, and they might actually do, or like reshuffle them around and have a few of these come out a bit earlier or a bit later, because there is quite a few coming out on this day. So the first issue that's coming out on this day is the tmnt The Last Ronin Lost Years, issue number 3. So the description is, the tale of the Last Ronin's first mission continues. In the past, Michelangelo's quest for vengeance taken him further westward, and fighting forms he's mastered thus far will prove invaluable as he faces yet another adversary. Nothing will stand in the way for his quest to return to New York City and avenge his family for the fate suffered at the hands of the Foot Clan, except maybe the chiding voice of his dead brothers. Meanwhile, in the present, Casey Marie Jones does her best to rear the next generation of the tmnt as both their master and surrogate mother, and she finds she's not sure which undertaking is more difficult. Writers Karen Eastman and Tom Waltz alongside artists Ben Bishop and S.L. Gallant will be doing this issue, and yeah. So from this description, it does sound really interesting, and I do think my problems with the series so far are still going to be present in this one, where basically you don't get the Future Turtles in for about 5 pages, and then do the actual Last Ronin stuff for majority of it. That's not a bad thing, but I really want to see more of the new Turtles. Now, like with the tmnt and Usagi crossover, there are a lot of covers that have been announced, and will probably be a lot more that's going to be announced over the coming days. Now, I'm not going to show all of them just yet, just because there's way too many to go into detail here. So I'm just going to have a few on the screen here which do look really amazing. Like two standout ones that do like really pop out to me. One is the cover A, which is done by SL Gallant, looks amazing. We've got Kevin Eastman one, which is also really amazing, and it's also like a few other ones in here done by Ben Bishop which just look incredible. Now also on the 26th of May we'll also begin the TMNT, the Armageddon game issue number 7, and it's going to be interesting, I'll say, with how things are going to be playing out. So the description for this issue goes as follows. Chaos reigns despite the best efforts of Rokosaki and the tenuous Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. New York City teeters on the edge of anarchy. The Rat King and his territory have outmaneuvered the heroes at every stage, and now his visions of a world in ruins is well within reach. Soon his siblings, the Phantoms, will have no choice but to play his game. Can the TMNT find a way to stop the apocalypse, or will disorder rule the day? It all comes ahead in the penultimate issue of the Armageddon game. And yeah, so this issue sounds really interesting, I'd say, just because at the moment we don't really know if the Turtles will actually win or not, and it could really go either way, I would say, with this whole event. And it's also really interesting with some of the words which I did use in this issue, but yeah. So for the covers, so far they've only announced 4 of them, and they do look really amazing. We've got cover A, which is done by Vincent Frederick, and it's just got to see the Phantoms looking at Kitsune. Looks really cool and interesting. It doesn't really give anything away for the story, so I'm really curious about that, but yeah. We have cover B done by Roy McCargo, which we get to see Shredder open up a scroll with Kitsune's like fox form going out of it, so that's really interesting. We've got Kevin Eastman's one, which is just Noel and Hob like shooting at each other. That's really interesting, and I'm quite interested to see how their interactions will be after everything that's happened in issue 138. And then we have the 1 in 10 variant, which is done by Pascal Calanino. I know I said it wrong, sorry. And this one looks really amazing, just seeing Leonardo there and all the other characters. Really interested to see how that one like connects up with all the other covers, but yeah. Now we also have issue 139 coming out on that day, and it's really interesting with the description, as it sounds as though that this description was probably meant for issue 138. Let's read it, shall we? Enter the endgame. Sheryl's forces descend upon Mutant Town, already ravaged by non-stop riots in the wake of the imposter Turtles' attack. Now skirting Storm Turtle's best defense, route rooms are closing in on Surrey, the haunted Triceratops Regenta. Meanwhile, the Rat King's quest for chaos has culminated at the reunited Turtles' doorsteps, and they have no choice but to take the fight to him. Can Donnie rally Mikey, Leo, and Raph and their allies to quell the Ultron invasion? The Armageddon game enters its end stage. So yeah, this description sounds a lot like it was supposed to be for issue 138, but I can't really complain all too much because it's not really giving away too many spoilers. But I must admit, I'm more curious about this issue now than I was like a few months ago, so yeah. So for the covers, we've got cover A, which is done by Fero Penchi, and looks really interesting and really cool. We do get to see Kitsune holding out a hand with the turtles in them, and it looks really cool. We've got cover B, which is done by Sophie Campbell and Kevin Eastman, and we do get to see all 6 turtles, and I must admit, this one looks really amazing. And, oh yeah, that one does look very tempting to buy. We've got 110 variant done by Mike Del Mondo. I'm pretty sure I said it wrong, so sorry. But we do get to see Mikey as a statue. It looks really cool. It just feels weird that it's not like nothing to do with the actual Armageddon game, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. For another issue we've got coming out on this day, we also got the TMNT, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 2, issue number 5, and this is going to be the final issue for this crossover, which is actually somewhat sad because I've been really enjoying this crossover so far. So the discussion for this issue is, forbidden alliances collide as radical enhanced, mind-blowing Zor combinations battle it out. Reunited friends face Krang as a true force to be reckoned with, but will it be enough to send him back to Dimension X? So yeah, that doesn't really give too much away in terms of the description for this issue, and I do think that's probably for the best, just because this issue so far sounds really amazing and really fun, impactful, and crazy, intense. I don't know what to really make of it, but it just sounds as though that it's going to be a really big issue, and I'm really looking forward to see what they could do in this one. Now, just like with some of the other comics on this list, there are quite a few covers for this issue, which I won't be going into detail just yet, just because there are quite a few of them, and they all look really amazing. So I'll be going over them in a preview video. And I must admit, so far the ones that I do have, I'll be showing a few of them on screen right now. They do look really amazing, and I don't really know what else to really say. They just look really interesting in terms of what they're doing in the actual comic or the actual covers themselves. Really want to know what's going to happen in this issue now. Now, the final issue that's coming out, I know that there's like a few other trade paperbacks and all that, but I know we're going to include them just because they're not comics and they're not new stuff. But I do have this director's cut for the TMNT The Last Ronin Lost Years issue number 1. I know technically this is not really new content or anything like that, as it's mainly going to be mostly the actual comic itself, with like talking about what happened like behind the scenes and stuff like that, which can be interesting, I would say. So the discussion is, revisit the first chapter of the Last Ronin story journey in this epic in-depth director's cut edition of the TMNT The Last Ronin Lost Years issue number 1. Enjoy all the original content, newly paired with never before seen artifacts from the desks of Kevin Eastman, Estelle Gallant and Ben Bishop. So yeah, this whole issue is not going to give us really too much, I would say, but at the same time I'm not too sure what they could really be showing off in this director's cut, as pretty much anything could happen. I don't really know what to really expect. I do hope there's going to be some really interesting things in here, but yeah. Now there were a few covers for this one as well, quite surprised at that, and it's interesting. I have a few of them on the screen. I don't have any intentions of actually doing many videos about this one, but I thought I'd show some of this stuff off here. So yeah, all those issues are coming out on 26th of April. It does seem like a lot of issues coming out on that day, so I really like them to like space it out quite a bit, but yeah. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. I am quite interested to hear what you say about this in the comment section below. What comic are you most looking forward to? Are there any like descriptions or covers that you're most looking forward to, the ones that are revealed? And yeah. So yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. If you do like something, please share, like, subscribe and stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.